Hello there. Happy Wednesday. You know what? I am so excited to be right here with a cup of verbal tea for you. That's right. I've been a little silent. I've been busy lifting some other people up with the recent publishing of a book. Oh, how am I not going to have the book right in front of me? Hello, Bernadette. Welcome to the party. I have been promoting this lovely book, Time to Rise, with 29 authors from 11 different countries. I have been so busy, you don't even want to know. But you know what? I have missed being here live to give you a little piece of my mind. And usually it's the positive piece. But you know what? Somebody really made me angry. And I don't usually spill off my anger unless there's a purpose. And here it is. I know that this is a time of year when people get together and sometimes family members nitpick or co-workers at the end of the year. People are kind of comparing their end of year bonus and what did you accomplish. Here's what happened. I was hearing someone's assessment and they were in this very judgmental mode. I'm like, come on now, y'all. That's not the way we want to end the year. Judging harshly. But the reason it bothered me was because many people don't bother to take the time to find out what is the value system that other people are working under. Because it's not one size fits all. Hello, Dr. Juicy Jill. Like, the standards that Jill lives by may not be the standards that I live by. So if I judge someone else based on my understanding, I might get it wrong. And I might actually offend them. Now, I know, I was hoping to have a positive, happy little chat with you. And it's going to end, I'm sure, on a happy note. But here's the thing. I'm going to make it real practical. One of the things that came up was I was working with some fabulous people in the UK and in the United States. What's up, Shaquille? And we've got different ways of doing things. Now, I know a lot of y'all in the UK are kind of bringing in American experts. Hey, I was just there. I met you, Shaquille, at Expert Empires, where I was headlining with Gary Vaynerchuk and Ryan Dice. You know, we flew in. So I understand you can pick the best of all these great speakers from different countries and you see all these people out there doing things. But I would be very silly if I went to your country and tried to judge you against, say, the American standard. And now that I live in France, it would be foolish of me to judge my friends in Iceland or Denmark according to a French standard. See, what I learned actually when I was in medical school is that we were taught to give culturally sensitive care. Sounds very hoity-toity, but I came really face to face with this sense of judgment. So thank you, Shaquille. It was a fabulous time at Expert Empires, but I digress. So when I started working at the Spanish Catholic Center in Maryland, just over the DC border, I was struck by the Spanish Catholic Center. Of course, it was Spanish, so we were delivering care in Spanish to a largely immigrant population. And it took me not too long to kind of recognize that I couldn't impose my standards on these people on how they were raising their children and taking care of their families because they came from a different culture. And to judge harshly would then create an energy and an experience where people didn't want to hear. It was like, who are you telling me how to raise my kids or how to do this, that, or the other? And so this has stuck in my mind for years, for well over a decade, that you got to really know your audience, okay? And I was in Denmark, I think last year, for a big event, kind of like Expert Empire, Shaquille. We had this big event, and I won't even mention it by name, but I know all of y'all know what it is. Anyway, there was a certain American person on the stage spewing, and I mean spewing, this haughty pompous, very condescending stuff. And I was so uncomfortable. I was sitting in the audience and I could see and feel the people around me kind of like, it was like bullets. And I'm thinking, didn't he do his research? Doesn't he know that in Scandinavia it's a different culture? You can't just import your American ick. Anyway, so here's what happened. Hey, Ingrid. And hello, URI. I don't know if I'm saying your name. And hello, Dr. Janet Anthony. So here's what happened. Somebody said to me, Andrea, you know what you should do? And that is just the wrong way to start a sentence with me, depending on the day, depending on my mood. And I'm just like, okay, what am I about to hear now? Every now and then it's a good idea, you know? But this person said, well, what you need to do is you need to scale your business and do da-da-da-da-da. And that's when I was like, oh, really? Mm-hmm. You gonna tell me how I should run my business? Mm-hmm. Based on what standard? See, we judge other people by our own standards. And whether they're right or wrong, I mean, this person had a valid case. Oh, I could see how you could scale this and do that and da-da-da-da-da. And I said, but is that actually in line with my vision? Is that vision in line with my lifestyle? I'm a single mother. I carry my baby with me all around the world. And don't even get me started on that. That's another thing. People want to tell me how to parent. Ooh, don't get me started. But I have orchestrated my life and my business for one thing, and that is peace of mind, not piece of cash. And that is because my value system is really well dialed in. And so when I'm talking about not judging others, if you want to speak to them based on the value system that they've told you that they're operating within, okay. You know, I happen to value being a fully present mother. Now, my mother was also a single mom. Dr. Janet, you know Dr. P. My mom moved to the United States in, I guess, the 50s. So here she was, a brown woman, immigrant from British Guyana with a funny accent, and she ended up getting divorced from my father when I was 3. So she had 3 kids, put herself into med school because she didn't like how these doctors were talking down to her as a nurse, like feisty little mama. 38 years old, she went to medical school. It ain't never too late. And as a result of being a single mom and working at the hospital, she wasn't at home a whole lot. And that was something I didn't want to repeat because there I was. I had my daughter and I was a doctor and I was like, nope, I want to be there. So I did what I felt was right for me as a mom, for my peace of mind and how I wanted to raise my daughter. And that was I unplugged. I stopped doing all the TV. I stopped flying around the United States. The few things that I did do, I made sure that the organizers, if they were going to fly me somewhere, they flew me and the nanny because I was breastfeeding. It was like, Lord, you know, there was no leaving the baby anywhere. Sienna went with me everywhere. Y'all wonder why she goes with me to all of my events? She's been doing it since she was 2 weeks old. Like literally, her first trip was to Jamaica for my friend's wedding. So she has been a world traveler from day one. And you know what? She was just talking to her godmother when she got to Washington, D.C., and talking about all of the countries she's visited, which is more than any of the friends and family around her. Like, they're astounded at the number of countries that she's visited and the things that she's learned and how she's starting a website and a charity. And I didn't push any of that on her. And if any of y'all know Sienna, you know I can't push that child to do much of nothing. She popped out of the womb knowing what she cares about in this world, like her value system. Her soul print came so firmly attached, there wasn't no programming it. But there are people who judged me. You know, how could you turn down that TV contract? How could you turn that down? Because I want to be present for my daughter. Well, you know what? If you're going to judge, at least find out what is the value system of the person that you're judging. I would just say don't judge, personally. Now, if I have put you into a position where you are a mentor to me and you see that I'm falling off on what I said I was going to accomplish based on the values that I have shared, I could get that. But this person said, oh, Dr. Andrea, you need to do this, and you should do this, and you should do this. And I said, don't you understand that that would compromise what I'm trying to accomplish? And I know this isn't everybody. I know we are all in different phases of development. You know what I'm saying? I get that. I am not trying to impose my standards on you because I recognize it's like if you look at a child and how we humans develop over time, we go through different stages. And you got to respect the developmental level of your audience or the person that you're talking to. And so it was a little frustrating because I had already recognized that I gave in. Yep. It's the desire for me to help and to serve others. Like it is so much a fundamental part of my existence to try to help and inspire and lift people up. I mean, if you see my work, if you've seen any of my professional work, not my ranting here, but all the work I do, it's about lifting other people up, getting your voice and your message, your book, your programs out to the world. And I don't know if I've ever really told this particular audience why I do what I do in the way that I do it. And this wouldn't be a Dr. Andrea rant if I didn't go into the spiritual side of things. It's what I do. It's who I am. But here's the deal. I had a vision back in February of this year, and I surrendered and was in this meditation and asked my divine higher self, God, source, I don't care what you call it. I asked my highest beings of guides, God, basically, and said, okay, it was after having this masterclass with Nick Haynes. So y'all be on the lookout. Nick Haynes, the 5 Institute. I think I've told you before to go take the vitality test, which tells you which of the 5 Chinese elements is your dominant influence. And anyway, so he leads a masterclass, hint, hint, Nick, you need to do this again, where he explains what the Chinese astrology is for the year. Because, Chinese New Year typically happens in February. I think this time it's late January. Anyway, Chinese New Year. He was explaining that this year is the year of the rooster, the fire rooster at that. And coming out of it, one of the things that stuck with me was this idea of focus. And he said, if you really want to thrive in this year, you've got to be focused on one thing. Now, not only one thing in life, but maybe one thing in your relationship, one thing in business. The problem was I had just published the book, The Orgasm Prescription for Women. I had a bunch of new clients who snuck in. That's a whole nother conversation. I digress. Whew. I had a whole bunch of branding clients. I wasn't open for business, but sometimes, they sneak in. I get these referrals, friend of a friend who says, no, I don't want anybody else. You have to be the one. And I felt really divided. And I knew that in order to be fully present as a mom, a single mom in France, I don't have family here. It's not like all of my great French friends here who have grandmas and aunties, so that when they got stuff, they can drop the kids off, and that's how life is, family. So anyway, I wanted to be fully present with Sienna, which I value that even now she's 11 and a half, and our bond is so great. And now she has the confidence to step up and do her thing. And I know that's because of and I don't consider it a sacrifice, but what I dedicated myself to. Again, I digress, but that's the beauty of a Wednesday cup of verbal tea. So, where was I? Is anybody even listening? It doesn't matter. This is for me to get this off my chest. Actually, no, I really don't remember where I was going with this. Yes, so back in February. So there I was doing this meditation with the Pandora star, And I asked my guides, whoa, I don't feel focused. I've got these 2 pieces of my business. I'm passionate about both. I love empowering people and doing this deep spiritual and psychological work to set them on the path to living with full vitality. But I also love personal branding, all of this conscious communication and bringing the brilliance out of my clients and then setting it forth, whether it's on stage or books or on TV and on radio. I love them both. What am I going to do? And since I didn't already have an opinion, I wasn't like fixed. I was literally like just juggling. I let the balls go, surrendered, and went into meditation. And I tend to get things in visions, and I was shown a vision. Now, if you've heard any of my stories in the past, my visions typically come true. I've learned to respect them. In the past, growing up with kind of psychic visions, I thought I was weird, didn't really know how to describe it, explain it. Is it real? Is it not? Psychic? Whatever. But I have learned in the last several years that the visions I see, they tend to come to pass. So there I am asking my guides for direction on this path for 2017. You know, what should I be focused on? And I'll just give you the summary. The summary is this. I received sort of, I don't want to say it was a mandate, but it was a vision showing me what I was meant to be doing. And that is to elevate the profile, the visibility, and activate the powers of light workers and healers so that I could touch 10 million lives. And I was like, huh? That ain't what I came into this meditation with. So I'm kind of like, wait, what? And the long and short of it is, typically when I get a message from the divine, I say yes, because I decided that that's what my life is about. When one of my spiritual mentors, this lovely Dr. Jane Howard Feldman, when I was making this transition from being, a doc in the box to really stepping into being a spiritual teacher / empowerment coach / I don't even know. What's up, Shimoni? Good to see you, girlfriend. When I got to that point of recognizing that this job that I do, there is no title for it. I don't have a model out there. There's no path to what was starting to come up for me. And I was telling her like the different things that I was seeing and feeling and wanting to do. And she said, Andrea, right now, you are being called to be a disciple of your higher self. She said, discipline is what you need. And some of us would think of discipline as a bad thing. It's a bad word to be disciplined. But she said, the discipline she was talking about was being a disciple to your higher self. The higher self, whether you consider that soul or spirit, it's that part of you that's connected with God. And it was like understanding that I had moved on to my path, my life purpose. No longer just doing a job because I was trained as a doctor, I'm good at this, or I'm good on TV, and I was doing television. It was like, no, now it's about shifting into Dharma, from karma to Dharma. And that, I think, was back in 2013, and it was a really pivotal moment because I was being told, that now is the time for you to accept that you got some talents and gifts, whatever you want to call it, some abilities, attributes, whatever they are, whatever you want to call them, they're now being used in service to a higher good, not just about making money. So, Shimoni, I know you just joined, but I was talking to somebody in the UK who was judging me, telling me how I should run my business, how I should scale my business. Whew. And I was like, so what is Dharma? Dharma is your purpose in life. It is a higher calling. And Janet, I've been meaning to send you a link. Girlfriend, I have got the book for you. Oh my gosh. Y'all need to send out like love and rainbows and thanks to the beautiful Helena Goldstein from the Joy Keepers Network, because she mentioned it on someone else's post. This book, oh gosh, I'm going to forget, Stephen Cope, The Work of Your Life. This book has completely just recentered me and given me so much peace, because in the book, he's the guy who's over the Kripalu Center in America, which is this yoga and meditation place. But Dharma is your life purpose. It's when you are using your work, whatever that is. That could be baking, that could be parenting, that could be anything, in service to whatever that higher being is, in service to God. And yes, that doesn't mean you're necessarily going to be a preacher, but it's using your work, whatever it is, in service to a higher ideal. And I stepped onto that Dharma path, committing fully that I don't want to just do stuff because I can. Yeah, I can go and build a 7-figure business. This was the hype thing. It was like, Andrea, didn't you just have a 6-figure this and you just helped someone get to that? Why don't you put those case studies out there? Why aren't you showing off in that way? And I think that's fine for people who do it, because, again, recognizing that we're all at different stages of development. If you're an early entrepreneur and you got your eyes on, I got to break 6 figures, then yes, when you see some online slick program telling you, we're going to get you 6 figures in 60 days or 6 months, that might be just what you need to give you that confidence, to give you the skills, on how to build a business. That might be what you need. But that's not what you're coming to me for. I help people build 6-figure businesses. Yes. I got people on my roster who are in 7-figure businesses. Yes. Multiples. But that's not what I lead with, because that's not the value system that I'm working with under. That's not my value system. So if I put that out there, guess what I would start to attract? People who are just about money. And I had this beautiful conversation with the lovely Jo Simpson. She wrote this beautiful book called The Restless Executive, and she has created a values-based program. And I love her work. And when I was kind of sharing what I was going through, she said, yeah, you're going to be challenged when you decide to live by your values, because it means you don't cave in just to deal with market pressures. And that's what was challenging, because I found when I started to look back on this year, and actually my daughter and I were talking about it together, she gets the benefit. It's like the benefit of having a spiritual entrepreneur in the family. So I was looking at the year and the stuff that has been on my plate, and I said, Sienna, I'm ready to stop traveling so much. I'm glad it's about to be the holidays where we can wind down. Of course, as soon as I said that, she was like pouting. And I'm like, wait, what? Don't you want to have quiet time? Hey, Margareta and Marlise. She was like, yeah, but I kind of wanted to have snow. Don't you think I could? So she wanted to go to America. Last year, we surprised her godparents, brought them here, flew them in, had this beautiful beachside apartment in Cannes overlooking the sea, so you could hear the waves. It was gorgeous. And Cannes was all lit up with the lights and, the hot chocolate and all that. So they were here with us last year for Christmas. And, before that, she was with her dad in, where did they go? They went to the Gran Canaria. So, she travels the world. This is her life. She has family on multiple continents. But someone was like, oh, is that hard for you? And I'm like, well, we've always lived on different continents. So yeah, she's going to fly and go and be with the grandparents for 2 weeks. And then she's flying and she's with her dad for a month. And then she wants to see my family. So that's just our life. And I don't, get sad. I'm like, this is just our life. And it's incredibly rich and incredibly beautiful. So, and I'm proud of her for being able to say, yeah, I'm really glad we don't have to travel, but then again, I would love to have snowmen and snow angels. So I'll be joining her in Washington, D.C. very soon. But we were talking about looking back over the year, and I said, wow, this has been a lot of travel and a lot of new clients, a lot of work that wasn't on the plan. You know, some of y'all, you start forecasting for 2018, you know, you're trying to figure out where you're going to grow and what you're going to do. And I said, you know, most of it I'm pretty happy with, but I noticed I got into a pattern of giving in to other people because I like to help people. It's like my own secret addiction. I like to help people. And I've learned, I know Dr. Janet knows, I've learned to set these boundaries for myself so that I don't get depleted. I've only been sick once this year, and that was because I was here, and then I flew to London, and I was doing Speak from the Heart for 2.5 days, and then a flight to New York. And in New York, I could feel it, the scratchy throat on the plane. I was like, oh, dealing with all these people and all their sicknesses. Boom, I had a cold, but it was gone. And as we got back from New York last month, and we were this is when we'd had this review of like, okay, no more flying anywhere. Let's chill out. I was surprised because after a couple of days, the jet lag was gone. My throat was kind of scratchy, but the sickness part of it was gone. And we both said, wow, we really rebound really quickly. So we had this whole conversation around resilience. And I said, yeah, it's good, but I definitely want to have some downtime. So when I started to look over this year and planning for next year, I had some of you, I know some of you are going to be joining me in just 30 minutes. We're going to have our Publishing 101 conversation about how to get a book out of your head and into the world. What's up, Suzanne Isabella? But one of the things that came up was I had a stack of, if they could be stacked electronically, an electronic stack of proposals that I needed to get out for a bunch of people who said, I want you to publish my book. And I was like, okay. But of course I couldn't have these conversations and get them out while I was working on the launch of Time to Rise, which the lovely Dr. Janet Anthony's in as well, because I was focused on this. And if any of you have ever seen the work that I do, hey, David, this kind of work, as I said, when I put my all into lifting someone up, David, I know you know, I am there for them. Maybe a little too much on WhatsApp, but I am there for my clients 150%. But that can be intense. So what I had to recognize is there's quality over quantity. Like, sure, when this person was judging me saying, you know what you should do? You should, I was like, whoa, wait a minute now. I could open up and do so many more courses and all these group things and fly there doing this workshop and that workshop. But the quality might suffer. Thank you, Suzanne. I hope you do read the book. And there's more to come. Because if I am out there just giving to the masses without having the time to refuel and without having the time to do the deeper work that this work requires, then I'm not giving you what you really need, which means I'm not fulfilling my soul's purpose. So before you get mad at me, before you want to judge me, you got to recognize I answer to a higher power. I am on a higher mission. And if I'm going to work with someone, I want to be able to give you the best of me. And someone said, but Andrea, there's nobody out there doing what you're doing. You could just do this much and it's going to be great. But some of y'all who were in London with me, you know what happened. It's like, I give you this much of me and they're like, but now I need more. Now I've got it. I'm ready for the next. And the best way that I can serve you is by giving you the best of me. So I've laid out all of my programs, and this is not a sales pitch, but I've laid out my programs in a way that brings people through each of the stages of entrepreneurship for those who are really feeling like this is part of your soul's work to bring your message or your methodology to the world. But I'm on that path too, y'all, okay? So tonight I'm excited to share some of the wisdom about publishing, so I can help some of you get your books out, whether you come to me or not. Tonight is not a pitch. I've got some other authors that are joining us. I'm also going to bring in another expert who's a self-publisher. So I just want to give people the information, and then you can decide what fits your values. Because I don't do sales. I do presentations. And then if it's a right fit, we can have a conversation. And if that conversation feels like, wow, yeah, let's work together, then that's what inspires me. But I can't compromise on what I believe is the quality of the work that I do, because it's not just wham bam, thank you ma'am. This work is deeply spiritual, not just for the people, I'm working on the spiritual level, but for my spiritual calling. So I'm saying all that to say that you have to really get to know the people that you want to quote unquote judge. And before you go looking at my lifestyle, looking at my child and what she's up to, and then judge me, really get a sense of what's underneath every decision. Because believe me, in this house, we are praying and meditating over everything we do, swaying, tapping into the energy of before we do anything. We don't tend to make these decisions like that or willy-nilly. There is a soul calling behind everything that we do. So anyway, I hope that as you all are getting ready for the holiday season, you can bring that sense of compassion and consciousness to the people that you're with, and get to know people on the level that they're at. Because sometimes they don't need you to be judging them and say, oh, what did you do this year? What didn't you do? Like, do you know what people are going through? Like on a deep level about what they're juggling or wrestling with? Because we're all generally trying to do our best at the time. And sometimes we need a little bit of a break. And sometimes we do need a kick in the pants. I am not afraid to give you a little kick in the pants. And I have my own mentors who be kicking me in the pants. But they know my value system, So anyway, I'm gonna let that go. So Shimoni says, you don't like the word sales either. You like the word heart-centered enrollment, which is about people feel naturally called to do the work. Amen. That's how it is, because ultimately, all of the work that I do with people is generally like, it's an ongoing relationship. My clients become my friends. I mean, if you've seen some of my workshops, I host my VIPs here in my home. People are very, very close to me, but I can't do that with just everyone. I mean, there's got to be a relationship. And so the last thing I'm going to say, and then I promise I won't be negative anymore, is the last thing I want to talk about is relationship. Meaning not just love, relationship, don't get all excited. I'm talking about people have a tendency to, let me just bring it into context. This is a period of time where people online are learning that they can build up an email list by hosting summits. So some of you may have even seen the summit that I did last year, the Erotic Love Summit. Fabulous. We had a great time, and hey, there's that number again. I think we had 29. That's so funny. Just hitting me. Last year again, it was 29 experts that I hosted for this Erotic Love Summit about love, sex, and relationships. I did all these great interviews and put them out there to the world so that we could explore sensuality, sexuality, love, and it was right before my book came out. Now, a lot of people are doing these summits. How many of you have watched a summit? Where they get together a series of experts and they're either audio or video, and you get to hear short, 30-minute or an hour long. Yeah, you got the hearts flying. You've seen them. Suzanne, did you even see the one in Denmark that my lovely client, Helena Philipsen, did? Fabulous. So it's a great way to bring a bunch of experts out. It's a great way to get visibility for yourself if you're the host. So it's a common practice right now in the world of internet marketing. What's up, Morton? So a lot of people are doing them. But guess what? As soon as you are kind of known in the world as an expert, most people will start to reach out to you and say, hey, I'm doing a summit. Will you be on my summit? Will you be on my summit? And in the beginning, it's nice because you get a few little ones and you're like, oh, that's great. I'm going to be on this thing. But there came a point where I was getting flooded. Now, if I'm in the midst of doing 29 interviews for this book launch, plus I'm doing interviews for other stuff I'm doing, my radio show, and taking care of my child, I can't be on Skype and Zoom 24/7. So I had to start screening them. And usually, the heart-centered giver that I am, I want to help people out because I know how it is when you're running a summit and you're trying to get some big names so that you look like you kind of fancy schmancy. Oh gosh, Sarah's sending me a message. Oh, sorry about that. Anyway, so when you're doing one of these summits, you want to try to get at least a few big names so that people will tune in, right? It's what we need to do to attract the numbers because you want to grow your email base so that then when you do have a product or a book or a workshop's coming out, you have an email database to mail to. But here's the thing. I was starting to get so many requests that I couldn't answer them all. And I couldn't pull my staff away from the stuff they were doing to answer some of these emails either. I'm like, they're just going in the either no pile or the you're not going to get a response from me pile. So part of me wants to say, did you not even bother to look at my website or my homepage to see I'm in the middle of a book launch? So if you really think I'm going to be able to answer your email or jump on a call with you and I've never met you before, that ain't going to happen. Now, there's no hate. It's just a matter of how could I possibly handle the volume? It's just not possible. And so I really started to stop and check in like, wait a minute. These folks are like asking me to bend over backwards. And that's the other thing. Oh gosh, I did not want to have this rant. What is getting into me? Anyway, there's a long list of like things that people want you to do. They want you to have an email list of at least 5,000 or 10,000. They want you to give an email blast and a newsletter blast and a social media blurb to hype it up. All of that is legit. I ask that of people. I've never made it a requirement. But some people, they will get stank. I know, Suzanne. I need another assistant is what you mean, Suzanne. I need another. But what I was finding is that there were some people who were getting really snotty. And I'm like, you don't even know me. You're asking me to give of my time and let you into my database, get in front of my people, and you don't even know me. Wait a minute, something sounds really, really wrong. Sorry, I'm sending a message to Sarah. So what I realized is, I can't bring people to my tribe who don't really have a connection with me, who aren't really in the same spirit and the same values base, because it just won't work. I've noticed, I look at the open rates. I look at the conversion rates. I know I'm getting real technical for some of y'all that don't care about this stuff. But my people, I don't know, you tell me. Do you believe in the power of relationships, of being really close to others and feeling like you know that they really have your best interest at heart? Because I think there's so much on the internet now. There's so much hype. There's so many offers, so many courses, so many summits that why should I give you my email address? And why should I sit, and get these emails day after day? Now, I think if many of us who, y'all have started to know me, you can't please everyone, but you got to please yourself. Yes, I know, it does sound like an old country song. But you know what I'm saying? So if you get to know someone, if I tend to think that if I'm going to send you an email, I'm hoping that you're going to actually open it and read it. Because I'm sending it for a reason. I'm not just fluffing things up or... Anyway, I digress. So once again, I'm going to stop because I'm just going off on a tangent. I wish you a fabulous holiday season, and I just want you to think from the standpoint of your values, who you are in this world and what you want to see in the world, and then carry that standard for yourself and get to know what is inside other people's heads and their hearts, so that with that compassion, you don't have to judge, you don't have to push your agenda on anyone. And hopefully you'll teach them not to try to push theirs on you, because we each have a role to play in this beautiful world of ours. And if each of us is really tuned in to bringing the best of us, that's really, really, really in line with who we are meant to be, then we will see people just thriving. We will see that we can collaborate and work together across borders and across the world for the betterment of all. But if we're in this constant little trap of comparison, we lose the magic. We lose the magic of our authenticity and our brilliance and our joy and our heart and our love. And that's what I want to focus on. You know, this week has been the week of the new moon. Mercury's going back to direct. So we're getting ready to move forward with totally new energy, an energy that we can focus on what is the highest good that we can bring to this planet for ourselves, for our family, for our communities, for this world. And if I am going to impose a standard on you, I'm at least going to invite you to investigate that standard about doing what my mentor told me, and that is becoming a disciple to your higher self. Not looking at these fools out there and what they doing, but really tuning into your heart, your God, and saying, what do I really need to bring to the world now? How can I align myself? Okay, that is me trying to impose my standard on you. So, okay, just try it on and see how it fits. I have a feeling that if you're in this world of ours, my little tribe of empowerment, you're already on that path. You're not just about the money. But hey, if you want to make some money and feel good about it, join us. Because our people over here, we are rocking it. You know, having some pretty fabulous lifestyles. That's not what we lead with, but you dang sure better believe that on this path of conscious entrepreneurship, you need to be paid. You need to have a healthy lifestyle, because kids got to eat. And a vegan kid, oh Lord, she got to eat, you know, bio-organic. Don't even get me started. Much love, my friends. I wish you a fabulous, fabulous rest of the day. For those of you joining me for the Publishing 101, I will see you on Zoom in about 5 minutes. If you can't join live, don't worry. Sign up. You will get the replay. And I'm going to be sharing how you can work with me. Yes, if you want to work with me. If you can tolerate me after all of that, you will be able to work with me to bring your book to the world. We have a few spots opening up for publishing clients and for working with me one-on-one in content development. And if not, I will plug you into some other fabulous people, because I want to see you thrive, baby. Mwah, mwah. Have a fabulous day.